going to be right here. Looks like that stream is up and running. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. We're right at that arrow that I drew up on Friday at that 30 level. Let's see if that 30 level plays an interesting role here this morning on the open. Let me get rid of this. Previous day high is here. Overnight high is kind of right where we're at. Where's the overnight low is going to continue to be the open on Sunday, and previous day low is right down here when I called that bottom there on Friday. So we got a few minutes here till the open. I will have the Maximus today here and there, so I may have to run it out and check on him. Let's just set up the S&Ps. Call that the overnight low. 8:27. Got a couple minutes here. Monday morning here. Bigger data week. So could get some pretty decent movement today. We do have the overnight high right here. Could watch that opening range trade for a quick short opportunity back down to 277 into that purple zone. Not that there's a gap or anything like that, but I think that there's a chance that this is extended for getting some data. We are at the highs from, in the high area, that 18,330 level, up into the Friday high of 18,348. And then 359, 360 was that target that I had at the end of last week that I said that would be an extended upside target, but it is an upside target nonetheless. So we will see what's going on with that. I'm going to throw on some chitter chatter. Let's go with work jazz. Just don't feel like sitting in silence, but
She's quarterbacking this project and
a little loud. I apologize.
She's stuck, Bill, and that deadline is looming.
Escape. All right, 1 minute till open here. Let's make sure our quant tower is good to go. Delta's there. All righty. We do have that overhead at that that upper band of VWAP here, up around the 18,345. So let's see what happens if it gets to that point or not. Oh, you got espresso for me?
Oh, you both got it.
You both got it? All right.
Can you hold it tight?
Yeah.
Hold it super tight. Take it slowly.
Thank you, buddy.
I just tried to do it to be on the cup of tea.
Yeah?
Yeah. On the cup.
On the cup? Thank you.
Mom, I spilled a little coffee on that cup.
It's okay, dude.
Yeah, I moved it.
Bless you. Alrighty. Let's see what happens with this now. That opening range pushing down. I would have liked maybe one more leg up here, but I don't have, I did mention that short right off the jump. Would love that opening range to close before I take that short. We're going to let it dance around a little bit, see if it'll dance around with VWAP, see if it'll pop its head back over the overnight high and look to short the overnight high. There's a cup in here. There's shirts in there. Oh, I was going to use that to package. Sorry, talking to the wife. Quick. All right, so we're popping our head towards that overnight high. Maybe we could get a wick off high or that 36. If we could do that, I would like to get that short down through the overnight high. Right? Do we get up there or not? That's the question. Oop, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So if we can get price to push up over this opening range high here, and delta sticks around the bottom, gives me a little bit of confidence into it saying short side. What are the other indexes doing? The other indexes, Russell creeped up over 2088. S&P's is obviously ticking down, like you could see on the other chart here. You can see the S&P's right there. I don't know if S&P's are going to want to play with that upper end of that range. Usually they don't play around. Maybe I'll short through the low of the 224. Nope, missed it. Saying that and then it happening quick like that, I kind of like it. So the opening range low break here to VWAP still gives you a decent return there. But I do want to see it pop up over the overnight high. It's Monday. We don't want to just jump into something just because, right? We want to make sure we get our setups. We want to be patient. S&Ps are leading us to the downside, right? You can see it headed down. NVIDIA just kind of hovering around 904, 906, 905. Pre-market levels, kind of like a choppy range. Good morning, Zuka-san. How we doing? I'm gonna turn off this. I'm gonna put something else on. There is heaviness in this, as I mentioned. I thought the opening range trade would be a good idea for a short side move, but I did not catch high enough up over that overnight high. Once we kind of popped our head up here into that area, I was considering shorting that 24, but I didn't have that set up. I'm not going to force something in right here just quick, just because I want to take a trade. We do have some volatility in here on a Monday. You can see that the range is extended a bit up from Friday, right at Friday's highs in that area. Friday's previous day high is here. This 330 level is that sell point from 8:30, 9 o'clock on Friday. So if the price action today is going to be similar to last week, we don't want to force in on it, right? You can see the arrow right in on that overnight high. So that level is pretty important. Would like catch a bounce here, but that's not going to happen, is it? NVIDIA sitting around 904, trying to push down a little bit. Microsoft sold off pretty hard, right straight down through 414. It's just going straight down. Microsoft not happy right now. Nope, nothing. Right down to VWAP. So that trade idea did play out. If you were able to catch that initial right off the jump short, I did not. I was talking about that the opening range short was probably a good idea. So opening range short, if you just took that straight down, that's a nice little win there. That's about 90 ticks for that straight down to that next support level at 289. Now it's going to see if it's going to hold below VWAP and continue, or if it's going to bounce from here, give us a secondary chance at an entry. It seems like Russell's bouncing, S&Ps are bouncing off of the VWAP level. So still a chance that we do get up over that overnight high, but do we get overnight high and then continue is the question. Now that we've pulled back so deep, right? Don't you ever change. It is Monday. I'm not forcing anything. I was going to go golfing, but I had to take care of the little guy. So technically I was going to not even consider trading today. But I do think that realistically we will get opportunities. There was already one there with that opening range breakdown. I thought maybe short from 224 down to VWAP would have been a nice little move there. I just didn't have that quickness to be able to get into that when I was talking about it, because that one really, I would have considered that more of a solid breakdown there, and worth the risk. And then now I got to kind of just wait and see what's going on. Down to 277 is really that area that I'm interested in to see if it's going to bounce or if it's going to break from 277. In my write-up, I did write up that the 277 level will be the important area for continuation. It's either bullish or bearish around that level. Hold above 277.50 probably gets us to continue to grind up. A break down to 277.50 below this purple zone, and a continuation, probably leads to a grind down into that low. As of right now, it's still holding above that level, so there's not really much concern on it. You can see the 30-minute trying to hold this little support level here. Let me throw that up there. You can see that support level there. Still holding. We kind of wicked off that low. Down through 300. Gonna watch and see if this area holds right here. It's such a long day. See if this holds 300. Basically, the VWAP area rotates up. S&P's looks like it wants to tick down below the VWAP. If it could hold below VWAP and start to push into this zone here, then maybe the NQ catches up. But Microsoft is pretty much selling straight off still. NVIDIA wicked its head up over that 900, over pre-market highs, and then pulled back some. Apple kind of rotating down a little bit, but still holding support at 184, 184.50. Let's go with Amazon. Amazon pushing down, Meta, downside, Tesla, straight up. And Google. So these names are kind of a little bit diverged. Everything's doing its own thing. There's not a ton of confluence between all of the names. Apple's going up, Nvidia's sideways, Microsoft's down, Google's down, Tesla's straight up. So, we have a mixed bag of the Mag 7 names here right now. So, like I said, I think there's some indecision to be had today. If you go through and read through the weekly analysis, it's in the alerts. I'll actually edit this because I have the wrong link in the YouTube. Copy that. I just don't have a trade right this second. I did think that the short was probably in from that high there. I didn't think opening on those highs was going to be sustainable early on in the week or early on today. We're going to push into that 277 level here. So yeah, if we took that short through 324 that I mentioned, down here into VWAP, down into where we're headed to 277.50, right there, 280. There's a heaviness. Delta's acting with our short, so there's not a lot of fear there. The only thing is that it's 77% short on the tilt. Could lead to a liquidity grab here. Just be careful. Or it could just go straight down like it's going to do. Hot dang. Straight down. Really kind of missed that opportunity there. I didn't quite have it. Maybe if I would have took the short pretty much immediately, right as the market opened, then you're fair to get into that. But to me, letting that thing set up, play out a little bit, gives you a bit more of a chance to get into this thing. A little more safe, manage your risk, right? Because really, if you just take that short right there, unless you're have some sort of confluent setup, you're gambling on that entry there. But I'm just kind of marking that off as an idea of where I had that short planned. As I said, it melted right there. So now the heaviness is on. Does the heaviness continue through We cracked that trend, that support level. We cracked 277.50. The next area to the downside that's interesting to me is 253. 253 is here, and then overnight lows are there. We're going to watch the overnight lows, see what happens around that overnight low area, and then see if we can do anything with this. Now, if we get some sort of delta push, delta divergence here where we pop above 277, come back down, try to flush it, get into this 260 area, and try to come back above 277, I think buyers do step back in over that level, but that's just more of a if it sets up. If it doesn't set up, the heaviness is going to stay here. And then tilted back closer to 50%. So watch that 253. I'm waiting to see if this will do any sort of dance with 77. I like this short a lot at 24. Nice little break there down at VWAP. I mean, pretty much magnet it, right? It seemed pretty obvious as far as the heaviness is concerned. Once 300 broke again and it got through VWAP, it's not a setup for me, but it does make a lot of sense onto why you took that short and got what you got out of it. So it's a good start to the week there. A nice little win. Now be looking for another setup. Yeah, it was cheap. It was worth the shot, right? I want to see this pop above 77. Come back in, try to flush this low a little bit, and then if we start to rotate back up through 77, I will execute on that through 77.50 to the long side. But I need it to set up, right? I can't just take this first break of it because I think that this could be just manipulation to continue as short. You can see Delta kind of pushing up a little bit. The bottom end of the value area is 83, so we just wicked up into value, rejected value. Value is this box here at the moment. Value adjusts as the day goes on. So we're going to watch to see if we get a manipulation kind of candle to the downside and then pop back above 77, which would give me an indication that I would like to go that way. But Russell's heavy downside. Microsoft still pushing into that 412 level, which is right where I like to see a bounce or a break. NVIDIA still rolling over, but at a bounce point at 892. 892.23, so that's a bounce point for NVIDIA. So I would like to see this thing try and flush this, get people heavy short. Delta's still kind of heavy. It's leading downside, right? So it's leading price. Delta's heavier than price is relatively. So if price does crack, maybe you get a heavy push straight down into that 256, 257, straight into it right there. Nice little flush. So right into that area, right through the low volume node. I'm going to, if I do go over 77, I still like it. Maybe I'll wait for this box to go. But this is more of a heavy move, right? Delta is confirming it. It's not really wicking off. It's staying down here. S&P is just cracked through 49. Rejecting it. NVIDIA broke right through 892. So the sellers are in here. Let's see what happens at the overnight low. I mentioned 53 was probably that next area of interest. We got to 56. Do we get to 53? Right to 53 right there. Okay. Huh? Thank you, Max. Yeah, it's in the way. Thank you, Maximus. That short from the top really made a lot of sense. I'm going to just notate it. I'm going to notate that, just have it there on my chart. So if I come back to it or some point later today, if I like the short there once, do I like it there the next time, or do I like it to break right through it and use it as a continuation long through that area? So that's just something I'm interested in. That's why I draw it up on there. I'll delete it later. You know, if you look at something like this where you're just kind of checking on some of these resistance levels, right? We didn't quite make it up into that next layer. This is extended away from the view from this overhead support. Probably gets into there. I said we flushed through 53, which we did. Nvidia is just still straight down. Microsoft up into that 412 area. I don't know if it'll bounce, but it's right on 412. It's really where it likes to bounce from. The lower band of VWAP is right down here at 245. I like the extension. Maybe we get one more push. Russell creeping back upside. Small caps liking it. I think if we do break above 277, like I said, it's an idea for me to go long. 277.50 is a long for me. $253 I said was the downside pressure right there. I do think that we wanted to get to that overnight low. So if we hold this trend line and go down one more leg, then we'll watch for that turn there at the overnight low to clean up that mess, that overnight mess that we have, that we always create. We always try to clean it up before making the decisive move for the day. So let's see what happens with this. Microsoft break through 412. And Nvidia, is it turning at all, or is it still straight down? It is wicking in the low. Closed a gap from a couple days ago from the pre-market and is now rotating back towards 892. The 15-minute range is right here. So this is the bottom end of the 15-minute range. If it holds that low, rotates through that high, that's pretty strong. I'm willing to take this long through my level based on the way it's reacted. Realistically, I think the heaviness continues a little bit longer, probably down to the overnight lows. But you can see Delta's now starting to, over here, you notice that Delta was leading us downside, right? Delta was trying, as I was talking it through, Delta was getting heavy, and price didn't quite get there until it got to the bottom, and then it broke, and then it caught up, and then Delta led us to the downside. This time, you can see Delta's not quite as heavy here. I think there's more of an indecision at this level. So there's price just not going to give you that super heavy flush right off that off the break of the low, right? Because you can see Delta is showing you that there's a little bit more buyers there. Russell is creeping back into the opening range. I'll take this long. If it goes, it goes. If not, I'm willing to take that risk below the level because of just the confluences that I have here. If Nvidia can creep its head back up over 892.23, then this maybe goes 67% long on the tilt, not crazy. Entering back into value areas here. So if we do get through it, then we'll be interested. It's a concerning point for me only because of the exact area of where it's at. But if it's going to go, then it should go fast through this level. I could secure something kind of quick on it and then maybe try and trail it out. VWAP's still a little bit off, so we can get to it as that first target. building up, building up, building up. We had some large buyers here at 73. Delta creeping up, kind of stalling out on us a little bit. But then if we accept back into 77, we should get up higher into that breakout point. I have it over 79 because I think if we can get through that level, 77 should give us the pop. But I don't want to be on 77.50 because that's just the level where it's rejecting. You can see it just rejected 77.50 twice. So something about that level is reactive. But if it gets through it, I think it's an explosive type move. Maybe it reprieves some of this tilt, gets people back to 50-50 a little bit, and then it runs up high side. But just based on the way Delta was acting, price was acting a little bit more like it wanted to turn at that level, more so than it did at this level here. I'm willing to take that chance on that one. If it goes, it goes. We have no data numbers today as far as red folder numbers. So I think rotational does make sense, which does allow this to kind of bounce around at these levels. It wanted to hold that level Friday, didn't hold it. It wanted to hold that level today on open, didn't hold it. If we can get back up over this 77, start to rotate, start to push up into that 359 level, probably sell off that 359. But I'm willing to take this one chance at this one. I'm not going to like hammer into entry after entry after entry on it. I'm just going to let it do its thing one time here. See if I can get that delta pop. But it is kind of just flattening out here at this higher level. I did not catch the pre-market low. I don't trade until actual market hours, so I did not catch anything pre-market. I also consider my overnight low is down well below here. That's like pre-market as far as like when markets open early this morning. But I use like the entire overnight session pretty much from last night. But I could see that was the area that it wanted to slow down. It was a really nice bounce, absolutely. My low is down here at 228, where I wanted to see it clean it up from when we opened on Sunday yesterday at 5 o'clock. Come on. Get through 77.50. Give me that squeeze. 73% long. I don't like that. That's a little bit concerning, but I think it still gives you at least a little bit of a pop here. Point of control and flip to the low end, so that should give you a little bit of confidence. Get us at least to 289. 289 would be interesting for me to get into. I mean, start to look to get out of. I'm going to stay right there. This is where I expect it to squeeze a little bit through this level. If we can get through this high of 84, then I would like to get to even. See the dance happening here. That is a key level. It could just flush off of this. But it is dancing quite a bit. More so than I would like it to go upside. NVIDIA, come on, bounce off of 892 quarter. Doesn't want to. All right, let's see if we can get this to go. Yeah, Delta's still up there at the highs, so potentially could still be good. Russell's still pushing up, so kind of been carrying us a little bit on this bottom end here. I just want to get at least back to VWAP. That was a perfect short entry, it seems like, if it's going to roll over from here. NVIDIA bouncing nice, so hopefully that gives us that little bit of confluence. NVIDIA, nope. It's going to tick downside on us. Microsoft broke through 412. So we have diverging ideas here as far as price is concerned. I'm going to get stopped out here probably on this. There's the stop. All right, so we're stopped. First loss of the day. Nothing that I wasn't willing to risk on that 277 level breaking and going, right? You saw the dance that was happening there. This is now a heavier market to me as far as that being a flush point. The reason I got out where I did, because I felt like if it was going to get breakout, it was going to go quick. If it wasn't going to break out, this heaviness was just going to continue on. As you can see, that heaviness is just pouring in. I'll try something down here at the overnight low if we get there, and then I'll wait to see if anything happens if we get back to those highs. So really, I got to just be more patient for that next entry and see what happens. Starting the week off with that first little L. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way quick, and then see what happens when we get through this level. If we can get up and through this level, see if that overnight high is reactive or not, or if we ever get there, or if we get down into this overnight low, if that'll be a bounce spot. I'm sure this 277 level will work now that it didn't work for me once, but we're not gonna just play into it too much. Let's see this level that he's. Switch up the tunes. Frankie Sinatra not doing me any good on the breakouts. Let's go with 90s hip hop. It worked out last week. Higher low. Heavy delta. Price ticking back up. Delta not following along. Not going to give me that confluence for that break. Russell pushing up gave me some confidence in it. NVIDIA gave me some confidence in it. Microsoft did not. Microsoft was heavier relatively, but now it's pushing up into 412. I would just be now looking to see what happens, but now VWAP has tightened up. Doesn't give you that same risk to reward on the, I mean, it'll give you a 1-to-1 still on that first target, pulling back into VWAP. But for me, do I want to hammer in and that be my second trade and go? I don't know. Probably goes this time, right? There it is. There's the actual break of it. Delta's now pushing up, kind of confluence. Let's see if it holds below VWAP or if it goes. Do we take the short through 77? There's the actual move that I was looking for. Stopped myself out on it. You saw that heavy price action came right into that support level at 260, 253 actually is really what I was talking about, 253. And then bounces right there. Secondary touch. There it is. Beautiful move there. 277.50 right to 289. Right to VWAP. Russell still pushing high side. Once again, the ideas are correct. The execution, not so much today so far on that first one, which is not a big deal. That's just showing me that my idea is correct. The area of interest is good. I just need to be a little bit more patient on certain entries, even though you can see it's heavy delta, heavy tilt long side. Let's see if it'll flush now that regain that. The delta didn't play higher, so maybe that gives us a short through here. With the heaviness in the market, the short through that level seems interesting. If it comes back to it, I will look to do that just because I see some heaviness playing around here. Short off of VWAP, people coming in with that heaviness. If it rejects it and holds below that 77, now that it's, tell me that was, no, that's why I got triggered in that time I did. It was 8:55. Got to pay better attention to the time. That's my bad. Would have kept me out of a loser if I would have just paid attention a little bit to the time. It's all good. Might get wicked in here again, but hey, let's see what happens. what Microsoft's doing. Microsoft creeping back up over 412 into this liquidity zone that I have drawn up. If we hold the 277.50 level, the rotation back up is probably likely up into 300. See what happens around 300. And then if you get a break above 300, rotate back up to 330. And then from 330 to 359. High of the day on Friday is 348. But we're going to watch those levels. Like I said, I think today it's just more likely to be not as bad as last week as far as trading is concerned, but is still not going to be as good as everything following Jerome Powell's speech, PPI, CPI, all the numbers that are coming out this week. I think that's just going to be a lot of really good information for us to be able to gather some good movements. You know, you'll see a lot of accumulation and some breaks, and then things will kind of start to actually play out, I think, a little bit better. So if this is going to be a failed break above here, I would expect heaviness to come in kind of fast, just like the way this one did. I will look to trail quick as we move in our direction. This is me playing a longer term level below VWAP, right? The VWAP acting as overhead resistance could give me the confluence to short my 77 level and then get down through, right, and into overnight lows. And then look for a bounce at the overnight lows or a break in continuation down into previous day lows. It's running its head right up into this view. Running into it. Delta kind of acting the same. So possibly if you get a break of Delta, what's up, Jofi? If you get a break of Delta, you get a break of VWAP, probably look for that quick push through 300. Russell's still rallying. The small caps are pretty happy. S&P is still below opening range. And NQ now trying to creep back up into that area. So we tried that long and got stopped out, and then it ran our way, right? I took the long here, wicked in, ended up stopping out just below, and took a loser on it. Decided that the next time I'm not going to take the break because it just VWAP pulled in too tight. Broke right on the right time, and then we rallied out. Realistically, I probably couldn't have taken either of these because of the 5 minutes till the hour. This was 8:59. This is 9 o'clock here, so probably would have missed it anyway on the re-entry. No harm, no foul. Going to be watching some of these other key levels. The overnight high level, I want to see if it'll come back and tag that now that we've cleaned up some of this. Down to 53, as I mentioned. I thought 53 was a pretty important level, which we tagged off on. Tagged off on 53s, ended up giving you that secondary bounce, and now the push up, which was a nice little entry. I still like, if 77 fails, I still like to short through that low down into overnight lows. And then if it doesn't, and the rally up into overnight highs, I watch the overnight highs, see what happens, if it wants to continue on or not. I don't know if we have much room past that previous day high. I think the upper end of the range is 360, 359.75 until we get Jerome Powell to speak tomorrow, and then CPI and PPI. PPI first, J Powell, then CPI. Microsoft holding the high end of that range. NVIDIA trying to push back down below 892. If it could get through that, then the heaviness probably can come in again. Just kind of following the trend of the day at the moment. The short could work here through 77 a little bit better than the long did there on the reversion. Although the reversion did work right to VWAP. That still gives you, although it's not much, from 77 to VWAP gives you 250. It's basically a 1-to-1 if you were looking for that kind of play. I just thought that VWAP was a little too tight at that point. I talked about the short right here. That was the real trade that I really wanted to take, was right in that area there. So if we can get through this low, I want to rotate through overnight into overnight lows, and then if we could see what happens at overnight lows, if it's going to clean up the previous day lows, that's a little far away. Especially it was like a straight down move, and then it was very grindy down here. I mentioned that 200 level on Friday that was pretty important. Russell ran into that opening range high and then has kind of stalled out. Seeing if we get any sort of delta pushes or if we start to see a heaviness in the delta while we're popping up here. Like I said, 300 probably gives you an overhead resistance. If it gets through 300, I think back up into the highs is potentially safer as far as an idea is concerned. If it gets and holds above 300, maybe not previous day highs, but watching that overnight high. But watch this divergence, a lower high here, a wick off, a lower volume, heavier on the tilt here at 74% long. So retail trying to get long above VWAP here. They were right up top. They're right currently, right? They're sitting in the money 283. So they are in the money a little bit. I want to see a heavy delta pop down. Yeah, 289 is a nice level there. Anytime that tilt gets into that 75% plus area, it's a good idea to either start to look for an exit or just a reprieve from where that level is. Now it's 65% long. It kind of gave that blow off gasket. Now if it gets up to 300, does it give it the chance to break? Delta still wanting to be heavy while there's a nice little wick here on price below 289. Now you can see Delta flipping itself up here. We're sitting right on the point of control. Point of control just keeps kind of dancing around. As price goes, it kind of just moves with it. So there's a lot of orders being executed around here. Delta trying to creep up, trying to give you a break of the high here, looking to break this up. So a break of 300 might give you a nice little push with Delta. So watch the 300 level right now with Delta acting the way it is. Kind of gave you that wick bottom on the Delta, wick bottom priced here below 289. Does it grab orders and push you through 3, or does it push it and fail and then rotate right through 289 and down to lows? You're getting a little bit of a heavier price action. Delta not doing as much to the downside. VWAP is support here. 289, I think, is that area that breaks and goes to the downside. 300 breaks and goes to the upside. NVIDIA came down to 892 again, wicked it. I say it's a bounce point, but I also could think it's a flush point as well. It's a make or break price level. 892 quarters. Wick 289, 65% long. My entry is down below value, so it gives it some dancing up here before it decides to trigger me in. You can see the way it's dancing around up there. Price just doing the dirty. I love that short from the high there. I was banking on that next little tiny push up over that overnight high where I could have really minimized my my risk to the high side. Flattened out Delta, flattened out price. I'm watching to see which way it front runs. It seems like it's acting exactly the same. So I have no divergence. It's all acting in unison. So it's not giving me the confidence to take the opposite end of either one of those, being Delta or price. Takes one good trade to get yourself to start the week off right, and that's all I'm looking for is that one good trade. That break at 89 and hold seems like it's going to be heavy. You know, its price feels heavier right now than it did before. S&P's is leading downside. Russell's starting to creep down. Hopefully I don't get wicked in down here. If it gets to the bottom, I feel like it cracks that and gives you a harder flush. And then if it breaks 300, then obviously the other way it's just as good. VWAP overhead acting as the resistance. You know, coming up above it, coming up above it, coming up above it. Wicking these lows though, also same deal. Could be the bottom here. 80 could be that point where it wants to bounce from. That's why I don't want to enter at 80 because 80s like to get tagged and then bounce off of it. So I'm not going to take the short right at 80, even though if it does crack it there, I'll probably get triggered. So we'll see what happens with that. I am looking at the short through 75, through the bottom of this purple, because it really kind of just gives me a little bit more confidence in that it is a real heavier short and not just a wick test and get me in and go long, get through 300, right? Because I can't limit my risk that way. I can limit my risk a bit better on the higher end. And I think it's heavy, right? The market's heavy from the high. We still haven't cleaned up that overnight low. So that's more, for me, I think more likely is to try and clean up that overnight low. Does it happen right now? Maybe not, right? Especially the way that that's acting, that got strong. You saw Delta creep up there now, sort of leading us high side. So if we do crack, the Delta is in our favor. You can see this big Delta candle to the bottom didn't lead to price breaking the low, which led to the turnaround. Price and Delta are pretty much acting the same at the moment. So whichever way it does go, it seems like it wants to wait for Delta to kind of catch up to it or price to catch up to Delta, right? So if we get a little bit of a wick of 300, you know, if we get a candle like this and then this reversal type idea, that might give us more confidence to take it at that moment in time. Still NVIDIA holding that 892 quarters. That's down here. You can see 892 quarters there. NVIDIA is holding that. Microsoft now trying to hold 412, right? And that zone that I've been watching for pretty much this entire year. It's been coming back to it, using it as resistance, using it as support. So I'm going to eyeball this, see if it's going to continue to push up that way. Apple, flat. And then Tesla was going straight up before. You see it's curling downside a bit now. I like to watch NVIDIA, see what NVIDIA is doing to kind of help my thought process on this S&P trade. I mean, NQ trade. So NQ's here. waiting. Patience. The real trade that I wanted to take realistically, probably shouldn't have took this entry at all in this area because of the time period. I usually wait for 5 minutes before the hourly close. This triggered me in right at that 5 minute till, and then it rolled over, and then it went the way I wanted to go within that 5 minute close as well. So you got some larger size bids getting filled here, 18, 10, 15, 11. So time and sales showing some buyers right here at VWAP around that 93, 94 area. So watching that, maybe they want to get it through 300. 62% long on the tilt. All this liquidity got grabbed. Now it's trying to maybe make that break here. The timing wise seems better. A break of 300 probably rips you right to 310. And then the base of this breakdown, 310 to 312. That's if it does crack it and go, because there's just lower volume in here. So that's why I would kind of just crack, break, hit off, and then go. If it rejects it and rotates down, breaks down through 289, this could be that liquidity grab that we were so looking for. Just like this one, right? Big breakdown. This is a little bit more of a sturdy set of buyers, I feel like. So crack here of this 300 even, that first wick probably runs you right to 305, right there. And then I would expect up into 310 to 312 if it does crack it. If it doesn't, if it just uses this as resistance, Then I think maybe the next break at 289 gets a little heavy. But you can see Delta still creeping up with price. So it looks like it wants to run its head right into 300. I said 300 straight to 305. And then if you get through 305, 310 to 312. So we'll watch the 300 break. If it goes 300, 305, right to it. It used it as resistance here. It used it as resistance. I'd say 305 right here. If it cracks 3, straight to 305. If it's going to go. If it's not going to go, then it's going to just fall off of 300. Right? You would think if it gets over 300, there's going to be buyers there. But right now, it doesn't appear that they're there. There we go. So there's a magnet right up to 305. I don't know if that's pretty much 305, 304.50. Very close to it. Heavier tilt, 74%. As like I said, the Delta is just kind of like a sturdy set of buyers. Not a big type bodied candle where there's a lot of sellers coming in very hard quickly. This is people building in. That's kind of what that story is telling me. If that doesn't quite get to 305, that's interesting as well. Because there's a lower volume here, higher volume node. It's slowing down. Yeah, absolutely, Jofi. Like I said, I'm not going to try and force into anything. I'm actually going to get rid of this for now, just in case it decides to something happens. Actually, you know what? I'll leave it there, just in case something does start to happen. This is the breakdown spot, right? The 300 level was where we had this trend line break, and now we have broke, retested, right? This is a break retest of this longer, from Friday's low all the way up till right here, right now. We cracked it, flushed our key level of 277, recovered 277, retested 300. Now it looks like we're trying to fail 300 and using VWAP as sort of like an entry point potentially for the short to continue on back down through 277, and then through 277 I said 253. If 253 goes overnight lows and then beyond to Friday's lows, if the short's going to continue on. If not, it probably runs into overnight lows and then stops, chops around a bit down there until maybe it starts to grind back up. We close within yesterday's range until we get the data releases tomorrow and JPOW start to talk. That's the kind of thought of if it gets that heaviness to come in, because I don't know if the heaviness comes in and stays until we start to get the data. I mentioned that it could creep down in my write-up down into 172 pre-CPI number, pre-inflation number, because if it's down at those lows and you can see people wanting to buy it from down there, if we get bid up into the CPI, into the inflation, then there's a chance the sell comes in when that number comes out, right? Always try and think of how they're going to be positioning themselves. What do you anticipate the number to be, right? They anticipate tomorrow inflation to be at 3.7%. It was at 3.8. They expect it to tick down. Apparently, consensus is 3.6. I think they're positioning themselves. They want to position themselves to be able to get long off that number if it beats what their consensus is, because then that really shows that the inflation's coming back down and that they can potentially cut rates, right? So that's why I think that the short early in the week probably kind of comes in, or at least it grinds to the downside because of that positioning. But if you start to see them position themselves up higher, I feel like they think that the inflation is going to miss, and you can possibly get that sell side pressure on the inflation number. I think if we crack 289 here, you got that higher high, not really a wick off, but you never got to 305 where the higher volume was, which was that breakdown point. 300 was the break from the longer term trend. You can see, in here, trend line. We're still below opening range. Delta's now creeping downside. Price is creeping down. Do you get another push up into 300? You're not getting buyers stepping in like you did before, right? Buyers were stepping in here to push us up into it. You got above it, failed it. Now you only have sellers stepping in, even as the price is starting to tick up. Delta is still ticking down. That's what I talk about when I talk about divergence, right? This gives you an idea of better timing. If this is getting heavy and price is trying to creep up, there's something off, right? Because that's sellers coming in. I think if 389 gives up, then we probably get triggered in. If then that's the idea would be, is it going to follow through to the downside or not? Have to check on Max in a little while. Nvidia starting to pull down. I think the heaviness is more likely than the long based on the way 300 reacted, right? If you have a level like 300, especially that it was a point where it was the breakdown of a longer term, not long term, but from Friday's low all the way up till now of a big support level, and that was a break retest, and now you're trying to break back down again. This is the kind of setup that you'd be looking for at that resistance there at 300 to see if it'll kind of fail and come back down. But you got to see a hold down here. It could just continue to grind, right? You have a heavier delta here. Price creep down. Every time price pops, delta stays at the low. You could see it. Watch. Just kind of eyeball it, right, if you can. You can see price pushing. Trying. You can see delta right here by my mouse is just sitting here. It could just catch up, right? But it's not. Price trying to push back up. Delta still holding lows. So that gives you the indication. If it gets over 300 and this doesn't catch up at all, then you would be cautious to see that breakout failing because you're not getting the same kind of price action. But now you can see Delta creeping back up, trying to catch up to it. That 305 level just got tagged, right? There's that 305. 305 straight to 310. Now Delta's acting. You can see that build up, that catch up. Once it broke the high, then the Delta caught back up. So that is how you time it. If you're watching both at the same time, you can see which is going to kind of help you out a bit. So now that that has held and is rallying, let's see if it holds above that level or not. 300 is that key line in the sand. I liked the short at 324, so we're going to see what happens around that 324 up into the overnight high, if we're going to get the rotation or if we're going to get a continuation. I think that a wick of 277, the wick of 277 like this, to rotate us back up over that overnight high is pretty strong. And then with the, like I said, with the inflation numbers coming out, with J-Powell coming tomorrow, today I thought likely would be a little rotational, a little bit inside. So right now we're still kind of following along with that idea, right? The first really good entry was that one right there that I drew that arrow at. Put this line out there in the sand. As I said, I like the short here at 324. It flushed. I didn't even have an opportunity to talk myself into getting into that trade. And then the bounce down here, I called a break of 277 to the high side. I didn't wait for the secondary push. I waited here, got this breakdown, got triggered in, stopped out, and then it was a big flush here. Good thing I stopped myself when I did, although it ended up working in my favor if I had the room in there, but I didn't. So we're just waiting to see what happens now. 305 to 310. Do we get the full, push back up or not? S&P is still well below the opening range, and the NQ just came right up to the bottom of that opening range level there. 310. I mentioned 310 to 312 was going to be an interesting area for it to come into if we did break above 300. The first time I thought it was going to be it. So our timing is once, twice. The third time here it's once, twice, third touch. So third touches today seem to be the break. NVIDIA now pushing down a bit. I like it. I like it a lot. If it breaks through this support level now that you've flushed some of this high up here, that means it gets back down below 300 and holds below 300. That's the idea for me as far as that's concerned. But you can see the way that Delta acted there. You want to watch price kind of either lead or lag the Delta. First time, second time, third time through 300. Right? The first time, second time, third time gave you the break. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3 was the break. 1, 2, 3. Third time touch on this little bit of a trend line here. 1, 2. Third time could be the break. Literally no rhyme or reason to that. That's not like the strategy or anything. I'm just throwing spitball on it. I think the 289 level does give you reactiveness. NVIDIA punching downside. It pushed right up into Friday's like close area and sold right off from it. So I'm going to watch the NQ based on that to get back down. Like I said, back down through 277 probably gives you a nice little break. If it's going to get that deep, if it gets through 277, I think we can get to overnight lows. I think if 300 gives up, then 89 gives up on this touch. To going through this, like I said, tomorrow we have PPI at 7:30 and then JPOW speaking at 9. In my write-up thing, I think PPI gives us a little bit of a move, right off the jump. Algos will do what they do. And then once Powell starts speaking, you probably get a lot of pause, unless he says something outrageous. If he says something outrageous, then you're going to get some movement. But until he's done speaking, you'll probably get some muted action. And then once he's done, you'll get either a continuation, depending on what he says, or a little bit of movement, in either direction. Oh, man, I love being right and losing money. That's my favorite thing in the world. Just kidding. VWAP is acting as support here. So if it does push down into here, I would just be cautious on the break right away. I wouldn't want to take it as a breakdown until we get down below 89. 89 is the level here. Now 89 is below VWAP. It was below VWAP before, but if you could crack 89, I think you do get that harder push down. Delta's starting to get heavy. I'm going to front run it myself. I talk about it all the time. Might as well start playing the levels a little bit ahead of the game. So I said if 300 breaks, just be cautious of this first break because of VWAP being right underneath it. But if 89 goes, it's below VWAP. And if 89 can give up, then I think you can get a breakdown, a little bit of heaviness to come in. And it'll probably come in fast, so you should be able to trail it pretty quick. Take not a lot of heat on it. Get your heaviness down. I would love to get to the overnight low. That would be my ideal target if I can get through 77. But it's going to be very cautious around 77. Alrighty. Let's see if we get triggered or if this is going to hold. Is VWAP going to hold or is it going to break? I say it breaks. I'm going to just let my risk do its thing. There's the heaviness. Heaviness fast right into 280. I'm going to trail my stop just over this breakdown candle. Let's see if we can get some heaviness to come through 77. If we get through 77, I'm at even now. So if we get through 77, I'm going to put my stop just over this 77 level and then see if we can get a deeper flush through, right? I wanted to short through 75, right? That's where I have my initial short. So if I could get through and what would trigger me in, I would put my stop just at that 77 level and hopefully get it to go faster, right? Fast move, fast trail in this world is my game. So if I get stopped at break even here, it's okay. It's fine. You can see that's more of like a liquidity grab. If it goes through there, I'll take the short through 75. That's my initial entry. I front ran it up there before for that initial first breakdown. Didn't secure any of that. Took $15 off, right? If it holds below 88, then this should give us up. This came right down to 77.50. You can see I'm not making up this 77.50 level. It keeps happening over and over and over again. So if 77.50 goes, then I think we go. This entry will be fine. So this is not me like FOMO entering. This is where my initial entry was, right? So if it wants to break down, it breaks down. And then we could limit our risk again on it. Holding below VWAP, holding below the 89 level. 89 cracked fast. Just didn't quite get the big follow through on it. So if it holds, we'll see what Delta's doing, right? Pushing heavier downside, giving us continuation ideas. But that was a nice lick grab right there. You can see it. Sweep it and go. That's why I get to break even sort of quickly on my moves. But if we get a breakdown retest, just kind of how we got from that bigger picture breakdown retest, then maybe we do get short through 89 again. And then that's when we get the follow through. Get back up towards 300. If it hits this blue line, I'll set my entry right below 89 again. I'll set it there now. If it fails VWAP, I would like to see this thing go fast. Russell creeping up over that level, and Nvidia tagged 892 quarters. If this is just a liquidity sweep, then it will never come back to it. But if it's not, that was a really good breakdown, right? You can see why that worked that time. Let's see if it works the second time. All right, we're in this time. Want down to the overnight lows. It shouldn't get over 300. If it does, then we should be stopped. 300 should be where we're wrong. If it's going to follow through 89, then we would be happy to take that short there through 89 short side. I want to see if it'll hold though. It's got to go kind of quickly here. There's through 89. Come on, get through and break. I don't want to be wrong. I'll be wrong above that, I should say. Not that I don't want to be wrong. I want to be wrong fast. So if it's going to come back up and be above VWAP and start to grab some liquidity, then I want to be out because I want to be right quickly on a move. I'm willing to take a smaller loss on it to take a cheap trade short. It looks like a VWAP wants to hold though. I bet you a 300 gets hit, wicks, and then we get to the short side. Later, dude. See you, Jofi. I'd stop myself out there anyway. Alrighty. So you can see what we're talking about here. Why I enter, why I'm talking about the things that I do. Is the third time through the charm once again. $300 to be the actual move. 89, 88, 75. 89 is my level. Right up to 300. Retested the breakdown again. You should probably just give it up now, probably, I would guess. To push me down. I'm not worried about the downside. I'm worried about the risk side.
Order filled.
There we go. If that's going to be the spot where it just grabs liquidity again, I'm going to be. It's pretty funny to me to be so precise on my grabbing shorts at a long location. This is why I don't play with VWAP. Yeah, I'm just going to take the loss there. Alrighty. I am just not seeing it again. Once again, Monday just get me into a hole. Just not around my levels. This is what happens when I don't play with my areas that I am interested in, right? So right here, got in too early. Right here, didn't trail out down to 77.50 like I said I was going to do. Got out at even. Tried the short twice again afterwards. Probably shouldn't have right then and there. Should have waited a little bit longer. Like I said, down through 75 is probably where I could actually get a true flush. I will give it one shot through that 75 if I can. Otherwise, I'm going to lock myself out for the day just because I'm not allowing my levels to play out as well as they should, right? I don't like to play with VWAP, and you can see why. VWAP just it gets orders and just messes around with the price action here. Like I said, I think it probably goes now because we're just kind of avoiding the 89 area, right? But 300 held, you got a wick of it. We're going to look to see potentially if the short will go or if it's going to be a liquidity grab or if we're just going to kind of dance around VWAP the rest of the morning for this point of time. Some days you should just go golfing, right? Oh, no, I couldn't have because of I had to watch the Maximus. But it would have been nice to not get yourself stuck in a hole here. The crack of 300 maybe gets us that break to the high side here. It does seem a little choppy. Like everything here said short through there, give you liquidity grab above 300, up to 310 into the opening range. Low, still held the opening range low, short through a key level, was right on it the first time, probably will eventually give up. Delta is trying to creep up as price is sitting here, so I don't know if the next push is going to be valid or not, but I'm going to watch Delta, stay away from VWAP for a little bit. If it can break and hold through 289, that'll be more of an indication for me to get short through 77. A high or low here at the moment. Same deal here with Delta. I want to see if Delta will get heavier. Push us down at least into the value area low of 69. You're starting to see this form here. $280. This is why I'm not going to mess with that VWAP area, because it just keeps pulling back right to VWAP. If we can get away from it, get down, get through 77, could work. But that is a higher low there. Now you're popping your head back above VWAP, back above that 89 level. Area. So when it does it go to the high end, right? Especially now we have that lower, the upper band of that standard deviation away from VWAP. If we can get up into that high again, that could lead to a short opportunity from those highs, and at least gives us the confluence at our level to get a short. So that's what I'd like to see. If we could push all the way up there, I'll give one more shot at it, like I said, but kind of giving myself a nice little hole to work out of the last 2 weeks. Seems like it wants to be a little heavy right now. Pushing right into that resistance there again. Low volume node through 79 into 74, right to where my entry is. There's volume down there. I think maybe I'll run that 77 short. If it wants to go. If it's not going to go through it, it's probably not going to go. We got another higher low wick here. Break of 300 probably gives you a little bit of a squeeze pop. But if it doesn't get to 300, NVIDIA caught another bounce off of 892.23. So that's another thing that should be noted. That's why it's holding up here. Microsoft also bouncing off of the higher end of that 412 zone up to like 413 area. So watching both of those. And Microsoft, NVIDIA, put NVIDIA on top. NVIDIA's got some longer tail wicking candles on the 30-minute. Microsoft giving a higher low. Will it give a higher high on this next pop-up, or is it going to give up and fail? Try and stay clean on the chop here. Like I said, unfortunately didn't catch the move that I would have liked to have caught of the day. But shit happens. I think if we crack through the 77, hopefully we can get through with a decent wick to the downside, get ourselves to even, at least get ourselves quick to even on this trade if it goes, and then let it go downside. Hopefully it can just run on us to the downside. Maybe flush through the low of the day down into overnight lows. Still feels heavy through with VWAP overhead. With NVIDIA catching a little bit of a bid, though, that gives us some caution. And Microsoft also, same deal. Kind of just... I'm going to wait for an A plus setup. I'm going to just let this thing dance around VWAP. Stop messing around this area. I talked about it again. There's NVIDIA with a nice little pop. Microsoft looking like it wants to pop. I think through 300, possibly squeeze us. Although it looks like just manipulative price action currently. So I guess I'm going to avoid this level. I'm going to wait till I get into the areas that are interesting to me more so than just the VWAP area. Just because there's a lot of price action in here doesn't mean that I want to be involved with it. It actually means I'd rather not be. This is where everybody wants to be. This is what I'd rather not. It doesn't give me a chance to limit my risk on it. That idea right there was the best I could have had out of that. Once I didn't get the follow through on it, that should have just been it for that trade idea and just wait, especially in an area that I normally don't execute. I'm just trying to get around this 77.50 level, which is not something that has worked, right? Microsoft creeping back in 412.67, right at the high end of the value area. NVIDIA giving you a little bit of rejection on this. Let's go 5 minute from that high of that gap there. Looking to close back down into 896. 50-50 on the tilt. Heavier delta breakout could give you the breakdown here from that 80 level. More choppiness. More choppiness. If you could stay out, stay out. It's not worth it at the moment unless you're like building into some position. Here, this is just going to get you into trouble like it's gotten me chopped up and screwed a little bit. NVIDIA right back up. Delta still working towards highs while price is working towards highs. So we're just still in this no man's land here. Russell wants to creep down and break through the opening range low. If Russell breaks through the opening range low, could pull us downside. There's a break at 3. $3 to 305. Well, what's the high on this? The high of this is 303.50, 304. Yeah, not a ton of things going on here. Nothing's following through. That's like I mentioned. Monday's probably not going to get the follow through that you want to get. NVIDIA right into 900. See if it'll crack through 900 or if it's going to just falter around it. 900 broke. Now it's going to pop high side here, looks like, and fail. It's kind of dancing around that 955 level. 901 is the high. Friday's like resistance area. 901. Microsoft still holding that 412.50. Nothing going on, right? Let's see what the 2 stars. Just the Fed speakers that were earlier, and then we have bill auctions at 10:30. 10 o'clock is inflation expectations. We'll see what happens with that. It's going to be the same. It's not really a real number. It's just expectations of a number. Just like to see what happened at these levels. Got about 9 minutes till the top of the hour here. Just been chopping around since 9 o'clock. Once I took that long idea, that was really the right move. Just the wrong timing, unfortunately, for me, which started me into this hole. The second trade that I took here was the breakdown of this 89 level, and didn't get any follow through on it, so stopped out at even basically, and then took 2 more shots at it here. Obviously, see that failed to the downside. So we didn't recognize the chop. Should always avoid trading around VWAP. It's not part of my strategy to trade by VWAP. I like to trade under it if we're going to go in my direction. NVIDIA rejecting the 900 level. So that could give some added heaviness at that 900 to fail. You can see this is heavier right here. I'm going to look to short through 89 again. I don't want to short it right this second, but I want to see if it'll confirm and hold, and then we can break through our 77 to get heavy. I would like to see if this overnight low will get tagged. NVIDIA back over 900, but dancing around with that 955, $900.55. That's the level that I'm talking about, not 955. This is building for something. What it's going to build to, we will see. But if Delta gives up like something like this previously, same type of deal here, you should at least get a follow through to 270 if you crack this. If that heaviness comes in. Russell just broke the low. Do I give it a shot? Do I give it a shot? Do I give it a shot here? Let's see what Top Step TV is looking at. Do, 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 do. Microsoft popping off of that low there, right into 413, just holding below 413. Hasn't broke it yet. NVIDIA still holding 901, pushed up, popped up over 901. So that's a nice little strong push for the NVIDIA. This is holding this level here. Could just act as support and then just run us right up through 300 and beyond. And then hopefully gets us into that upper area here. There's a lot of confluence here for something to happen around that 18,336, 18,324 level. That level right there is really reactive. I just hate this price action. My game plan for Wednesday. Wednesday, the number comes out at 7:30 a.m. I'll probably come on like 7:15 and look to see what kind of levels we're at, where we're trading, what the idea leading into it is. I'm going to listen to what Powell had to say on Tuesday. All of those things kind of adding into factors into, all right, let's say inflation comes in either really good or really bad or in line, or, and have a plan for each direction. If I decide to take a trade on the number, then it's going to be really planned out really, really well. If I don't execute, I'll at least observe the number, observe the price action, set my levels off of that reactive first, minute or two. And then come market open, I would look to see what kind of price action I'm getting, because that's really what's going to come down to for Wednesday is that data release, really. Like what are the algos going to do? How are they moving it? What's going on with everything? And then go from there to set up a game plan. Like I said, I want to set a game plan and then work the game plan as I see the levels for that day. So Realistically, I think inflation comes in probably a little hot. I think we do have a higher for longer type idea. It's been very interesting because for some reason that's been bullish a little bit. Like some of these numbers have kind of created some bullishness, which is interesting. I don't think that that's the case. I think if we get a hot number, I think we go down. So I would look to short if we're at higher levels. If we're at like an in-between, if we're at like a VWAP area, I'll probably look to avoid trading that release because you'll probably get a lot of manipulation around it. Yeah, but for the most part, like I said, I'm just going to look to play the levels that I see that are there that day on the release based on the way the numbers have been reacting in the past. So that's a long-winded answer to not really sure yet. But I think it's going to be a good day for opportunities, especially after market opens. You'll probably get a lot of follow through on the moves, unlike today where you're getting nothing. A lot of choppy, shitty price action. The one trade I wanted to take, I didn't get into, and kind of caused me to get involved in the chop instead of avoiding trading altogether. But that's on me. I do have to see what happens with this. Failed breakdown in Delta, pop to the high side, pushing up on 300. Everything is regained strength. Maybe the break at 300 gives you that push up. Now up into that 320s. Hopefully that can get us into an idea to get short up at the highs. Hopefully that helped you spy on that idea there. Realistically, like I said, you just got to kind of see where the levels are at. Because if they push price down the next few days, especially after JPOW talks, and that number comes in anywhere that's reasonable, then that rotation higher continues. They're able to get cheaper prices. If not, if it doesn't, if we push up into highs and we're waiting around there and that number comes in anywhere where there's no chance of a rate cut anytime soon, then it gives you a really good short opportunity. Just letting the price tell you what to do when you get there. Like right now, it seems like it really wants to break down through 289. A lot of like key levels here. You got the support, you got 289, you got VWAP, everything telling you to push down at least into 70, which is the value area low because there's low volume nodes all the way down to 75. Delta getting heavy through this level. Russell still trying to hold the lows of opening range. But I don't want to enter at VWAP. I don't want to get involved in this chop right now, but I think a crack of 89 probably gives us a pretty decent push down. Unfortunately, like I said, it's probably going to push us right into my entry idea here. It's 9:59, so at 10 o'clock, hopefully this just gives us a nice little melt. 18 seconds. It's either going to pop or melt. Let's see what happens. Chop, 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 chop. Manipulate, manipulate, manipulate. Decent amount of buyers came in there at 10. Microsoft pushing up. NVIDIA trying to pull back into 955 cents. Catching a little bit of a buy side move there. Microsoft still pushing above 413. NVIDIA pushing up to 901. But there's not a lot of push on the NQ. This is the middle. Holding this level. Russell caught a bit of a bounce. Which way does this want to go? Nowhere? A bunch of nowhere? Crappy movement. Crappy price action. Relatively weak compared to the NVIDIA and Microsoft, which is interesting to me. Like some of these other names, like Nvidia's pushing up in through 900 up into 901. Microsoft pushing up at the 413, and the NQ is just still flat here on VWAP. And Apple selling off from the highs a little bit. Google is pushing highs. Amazon pushing through lows. Tesla pulled back a bit. Like I said, it's been a mixed bag of everything. Each name has gone kind of different directions in the Mag 7, which is kind of dragging this NQ sideways. I also think, like just I said, the economic data, all that stuff coming in has just kind of been keeping it sideways. I don't think you're going to get a ton of follow through on any moves, but like I did mention, I do feel like something here wants to break, and if I want to be involved in it, if it does break, I haven't been able to catch this, and this is probably the most likely of opportunities that's been around for some time with the way it's been winding up and winding up. There's the breakdown of it. 89 broke. Let's see if 77 breaks. If 77 breaks, then we're going to get involved. And if we can get some follow through, then we'll see what happens. If we can get ourselves to even on the day, that'd be great. Yeah, 3.3 on that consumer inflation number. I want to see it go to the downside and trigger me in and then never look back. That'd be fantastic. Another liquidity grab here at 80. Heavy delta. Price broke through all this key level. No follow through on it, right? It's very rangy, crappy price action. See if we can get heavy and continue this downside pressure now that Nvidia just gave up 900. I'm going to take over for Maximus in 2 minutes so the wife could go out. $80 looking to hold. Is it a bounce or is it a break? Bounce or break from 80. Bounce. This is why I have my entry so far off, because I feel like there's just not a ton of follow through on this. Is that a liquidity grab again? Once, twice, 3 times. That's what I said before, right? Once, twice, 3 times is now the bounce. Just gonna be patient now. Let it do its thing. If it's gonna go and sell off, it's gonna go and sell off, and it's gonna get me in, and then we'll go from there. That's just a bounce point, though. I don't like that. 77. Pop back up. Try to make new highs again. Couldn't do it. Rotate to 89. See if 89 will fail again. There's a nice little push. Delta now working with it. Possibly looking to break out. But like I said, it's just a big choppy mess. So it could just hit the high here and sell right off of it. It could hit the high and break it. Oh, definitely a day. Should have just stayed out or entered that first trade. Really, it was that first trade I wanted this short. Microsoft quick ticking down. Nvidia once again pushing up into that 901 level. If I get triggered on this, I'm going to go break even pretty quickly. I'm doing this based on Nvidia failing, Microsoft failing. We've been on the lows here, and the chance of breaking through 300 should have happened a few times. Hasn't. Russell's still holding that low there. This is garbage trading. Getting rid of that. Let's get the price to some of these levels. Otherwise, it's just going to stay around the middle here and do nothing. Let's see if we get a combine trade around this VWAP. Get rid of the... I'm going to trade a heavy combine here. See if I can get some fades of these levels. No, I'm just going to wait and see what I can do here on this beautiful Monday here. Just waiting to see anything. nothing doing here. Microsoft ticking up, Nvidia ticking up. Can we get up into that overnight high, please? And give me a setup before we get off the stream. I gotta do some coffee business, take care of the little boy, do a bunch of different little things here quickly. All right, give me 1 minute. Price is not at my level anyway. I'm gonna try and avoid it. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I gotta bring my check on the boy, and then bring some K cups. We do now offer K-Cups. I do fill out packaging myself, so I need to make sure that happens. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. would be fine with just a little bit more. All right, a whole lot of nothing doing again. Still nothing going on here. We have NVIDIA with a double top type action here. If it could fail 900, we could potentially get us to rotate downside finally. I do want to see if we can get heavier long on the tilt, which is nice. I'm going to sell 1 through 89. Oh, I hate when I click that button, dude. Delta pushing. Microsoft still ticking up. NVIDIA pushed down and then right back up. You got Delta working up higher. Broke down. Sellers coming in. See if they'll continue us down through the low here. Willing to take the risk here. Fuck it. Let's take a trade here. Make it happen. Make it happen. Make it get down to 77. And then possibly look to see if we can just secure some of that. Nope, Microsoft ticking back up. Possibly going to hold VWAP here.
Order filled.
All right, I'm in. If we can get down into that purple zone, hopefully we can get to break even. And then from even, we can actually make some money on this trade, get ourselves some of this back. Unless it's going to be a liquidity grab, then it's just going to be us calling it a day. Come on, get heavy now. Get down into that purple zone. What's up, Jofi? I'm taking that to break even pretty quick here, based on the way price has been going. As we approach these lows, I'm going to just kind of continue to secure some of this. I'm fine with just taking a base hit on it if it doesn't give me a follow through, but I am looking to see if it will flush 77.50. If we could flush 77.50, I would like to see the selling to kind of come in here. I should let it go. Should be at break even. Yeah, be at even. I don't want to get wicked out technically, but I do like to see this thing get heavy. NVIDIA just broke through 900, so maybe that'll give us some confidence in the short, but I don't know if this is going to follow through. Like, nothing's been following through, so we're flat. Yeah. Nothing follows through today, so we're going to just avoid that again. Like I said, I have to just be out quick, especially with the drawdown that I got going on right now. I got to just take care of something real quick. Let's see what happens with this price action going through here. Could have been in and out at that 300, down into that 280 level, but I'm just going to kind of stay away for a second. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Hey. All right. Well, let's see if we can get this heaviness to come in now. I walk away. I come back. We're back in an area that I'm interested in. Do we get the heaviness to come? Delta's acting our way. It's just so choppy. See what happens at the 30-minute close. I'll give it 4 minutes. Did you take profit on that, Jofi? Just take the money and go on that. Seems like. But here we go. Some more heaviness coming in. Microsoft's just been kind of grinding higher. NVIDIA's been doing this little wedge dance here over 900. Still trying to hold below 901. 901 is pretty much the interesting high of Friday. I think it's pre-market high on Friday. Well, not high, but there's an interest level. And then up into that level at around 1 o'clock on Friday before selling off into the close. So just watching that. NVIDIA does have earnings next week. So do I expect like explosive moves out of it? Yeah, it's just one of those days. If you could be up or small, up or down small, that seems fair. I would like to get in below our level here, but I am cautious. Just bill auction here. Even though it's not a red folder number, it still could move this a little bit. NVIDIA trying to get through 900. S&P's pushing lows. Russell's pushing lows. But you can see all these wicks here grabbing that liquidity. If we can get once, twice, 3 times, 4 times through, maybe we get through that 77 this time and finally crack it. Oh, I am in.
Order filled.
See if that's going to be a flush or it's not. Can these bill auctions help us to the downside? Looks like it wants to. There we go. Get heavy now. Please get heavy. Let's do it. Come on, baby. We're at even. Now let's see how low we can go. Come on now. Get through the lows. Don't come back to 77. Please don't stop us out. We have to be at even quick with our limits right now. I'll take down through that low. There we go. Push us. I'm going to get... As we approach these lows, I'm going to continue to secure profits. Fast moves, fast trails. That's how I roll. I'll take out at 175 here. That's the flush that I was looking for at 77. Do I take the profits or do I? Yeah, I'll take that first little hit there. That was a nice little flush. Is it going to continue on? I don't know if I trust the continuation. So I'm going to take my money and move on. Buy myself another trade for the day. So that's a good little sweep catch there. I would have liked to have caught more of that, like down to that low. I was a little slower with that trail. However, you just got to do what you got to do on this kind of move, right? From 77 is where I took that short down to that level there, 175. We could have, took another 300 on it, but we're going to see if we can get to this overnight low, clean it up, get ourselves a delta divergence, some sort of strategy where we could take a bounce play, and then we roll from there. Like I said, I got to keep checking on Maximus, so I got to make sure he's good. There hasn't been any follow-through on moves, so do I anticipate this going down in a straight line? No. I think we may even bounce from here. That's like once a high or low here, potentially look to rotate back up through, and then overnight highs will be interesting to take advantage of as well. So I'm going to be watching those levels. Zuka-san, I love that enthusiasm on that. I love it. But like I said, fast moves, fast trails for me, and it's a good reason why I did that because it helps me get back into a good rhythm. So the last 2 trades has put us back up, gained us one of those losers back, and now all we need to do is catch, one good trade, and then one more good trade, and then we'll be all right. The goal is to be even on the day for me today, or small loss. And it's going to have to come at flushes of key levels like that, 77. But now I want to really wait for one of these other levels to come into play. This blue line or this yellow line would really be ideal because the lack of follow-through tells me that if we can get to one of these levels and try to flush and give like a breakout type strategy or, to the high side or the low side, the chances of it following through are less likely. So then the rotation back down to VWAP could come into play, or a rotation back to VWAP or back to 77, back to those key levels could come into play for the mean reversion type plays, right? So that's why I liked this short here, because I thought we were extended on a day like today. I wanted this short here. We got that short. We didn't catch it. I called it out. I said I like that 324 short, and as soon as I said it, it flushed. Then when we came into this level, we tried the long, got stopped out. The first attempt at it, the second attempt we didn't take. It was put us at, there, and we tried to short this a couple times, and now finally you get the flush, but you don't get the follow through on that flush. So just like I said, take your base hits on a day like today. As they come, take the money off the table. Take the money off the table. Take the money off the table. That's really what you want to be doing here. Right into the value area low, rotating right back up towards that 89 level, towards that point of control, towards VWAP. Righty. I want to try one more short. This is very sweepy. Just like this was very sweep. On a choppy type day. I was talking about this short here. Didn't follow through. You get it through again. Short up here. Right through VWAP, short through the bottom of the low, and then you rotate down. Like I said, through 89. It's so hard right now the way price is acting, especially around like the VWAP area. If you can get away from the VWAP, maybe you could start to draw away. S&P's looking like it wants to get lower, but I mean it ticked off on that overnight low, and we haven't even come close to the overnight low in the NQ. So we went overnight high to overnight low in the S&P's. We're still in the middle on the NQs. So are we going to get any follow through on the move if we get through this low again? Can we get some follow through on this time? I would like to take it again through 75, kind of pushing us through that low again, but it's not quite ideal. Price pushing up, delta pushing up. I think we could get back to that VWAP potentially. There's a lot of liquidity here. It's obviously a low volume area, but there's a lot of like sweeping action right at this level, right at 77. Do I wait for the crack of 77 again? If you get Delta to kind of continue to push down, it does feel like it's just like a heavy kind of day, but the price action has completely flattened out since the... I'm going to guess because of because Powell tomorrow, you got PPI 7:30, you got Powell at 9, then you got inflation coming in for CPI stuff on Wednesday, and that is what's going to really move this market. Everything is heavy. Let's see if we can get another flush here. this does want to get through here. I'll take it short. Seems like it was a sweep. You got a little bit of a delta push. Lower high here would be nice. Everything kind of being a little heavier. Nvidia cracked the high. This is just to see if you'll get another flush to this level. Honestly, it does look like it wants to just grab it and go. If it gets up to VWAP, I'm going to just cut this order out. Delta pop. Price did not go. If price catches up, then it's interesting. If it doesn't catch up, then you could get a heavier sell. Do we get that breakdown of 77.50? Nvidia failed that high. With that strong delta, price did not act in unison, so potentially watch to see if it'll pull back some and you start to get a heavy delta on the push down through 77. If we can get through down 77.50, then maybe we could start to look to get an actual good flush. Like if this was the first flush, trying to get some people stopped out up here. Tilt 60% long. I think maybe we could get one more rotation downside to get some more shorts involved. Take a quick base hit on it if I can. At least get the break even fast and then see what happens from there. As I mentioned, if it gets up into VWAP, I'm just going to take the order off. But the longer that we hold below 89, the more confident I am that the sellers will come in below 77.50 if it gets there. The wife's got to get out of here in a minute, so I would like to see this happen quickly. I would love to get to even fast. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it'll give me that next flush. Microsoft still creeping upside. Nvidia wicked off twice off the high. I want to see a hard breakdown of Nvidia to help this go. S&P's trying to hold below this zone here. I would like to see S&P's give up the zone first. Give us a front run of this move to actually start happening. You can see Delta trying to pop, trying to give you some higher highs on Delta, but price is diverging to the other end. So if Delta catches up to price, then we might get a really heavy push. 60% long on the tilt. So buyers still stepping in on the retail end. Could give us a heavy short opportunity here. S&P's looking like it wants to go. Nvidia looking like it wants to give up 902. Delta wicking lower. Trying to pop higher. Delta pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Does price catch up to Delta right now? Or does Delta catch up to price? Which is the one? What happens first here? Lots of buyers stepping in at 80. Now Delta's starting to push down a little bit. lingering here at this 80 level. 80 is a decision point. Delta now getting heavier compared to price. This is how I time my entries a bit with the Delta push. Hopefully we can get into this 70s area where I could get to even. Amazing how I'm able to get just wicked in at the bottom. I find my areas of interest very, very interesting. I'm actually going to look to probably get this thing to go either quickly or get out. Yeah, I'm going to look to just be right there with it. Got to get below 80 again. Come on, Delta. Help me out here. Start getting really heavy. You can see that Delta got really heavy with that. It was slightly wicky. So I would like to see if Delta will click down a bit with the price. S&P is ticking lower. Hopefully S&Ps can drag us down to that overnight low again and then possibly get our price to go. I would like to only risk 150 on this. So that's fine. Let's see if we can get heavy now. If not, it's going to pop off at 80 and rip our face off anyway. So if I get wicked out of that there, it's fine because I think that would lead to a big buyer stepping in after that wick bottom. But below 80, we're still below 80. We're still holding that, still short bias there. Nope. We're ticking above 80. There's heavier Delta. So Delta's starting to creep down. Should help us out a little bit. Push, push, push. Push, push. Box, box. Nothing. Yeah, I'm going to be out above this wick. I'm shooting my shot at a trade. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Yeah, he's fine. Yep. All right. You don't have to go crazy sealing it because obviously they're going to take it. So just put the sticker on it. Packaging up some K-cups. Taking some trades. Doing a little bit of everything here. This looks like it wants to get heavy to me still, right? Delta is not. It's just wicking a little bit, though. Russell ticked up. Can we get below this 80 and hold? Mom's in here. Mom's got to go. Alrighty. Max, you want to trade with me? I got the little guy coming. Come on, sell off. You know you want to. Nah, it's going to bounce from here and get me stopped out. Come on. Got to talk to it a little bit. NVIDIA creeping up. Microsoft still holding the highs. It's just so relatively weak. Yeah, I'm going to just probably be out on this for a small loser and then call it a day here. Unless it sells off really hard quick, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get stopped on the wick test. Wick test and then run down. Probably that's how it's going to go. And there we are, out. So we're going to lock ourselves out for the rest of the day. I want to be able to trade tomorrow. And with this price action, I don't need to be entering anything. I will get into combines, possibly see what I can do as far as getting another XFA set up and ready to go. But I am not looking to overtrade around these levels anymore. I did draw myself down today, Drew down to our personal loss limit, and once I didn't get any follow through on any of these moves, I decided to get out of it. It is what it is. I got to take the kid and make sure he is happy, and now it's going to go now, right? This is when it's going to go. So why not take a combine short? I'll stop sell 3 on a combine. See if we can make some money on a combine here. I tighten my stop on these because of the lack of good follow through on these moves. Obviously, like I said, it's one of those days where you kind of just, it is what it is. Just let it be, be a losing day. Try and secure maybe some combine W's later on in the day. I do have to go to work, so I won't be able to do tons of stuff here. Stream ends at 11 o'clock. At least you're at break even, Jofi. That's fine. Like I said, today is look at this price action. This is a shitty price action to be trading. As I mentioned, that short in the beginning of the day is really what I wanted to catch there, where I drew that line up and that catch, like the short there. That was the move. That's really what I wanted to see. We have yet to come anywhere near either of my other levels. I've been trying to play the 77 level because I think it is pretty important, but NVIDIA and Microsoft kind of keep creeping up. Delta is now, still being strong relative to price. So I think if price ends up going at all, then you will start to get a little bit of a bid on it. Russell is creeping up. S&P's is just kind of holding these lows. I don't know if you're going to get much more movement as far as the rest of the day is concerned when it comes down to these price movements, just because of tomorrow. We got JPOW, we got PPI at 7:30, and then we also have CPI Wednesday. A lot of that, I want to have my bullets in my gun for those actual trading opportunities where I can make some money, get myself back to a point where I could start taking better shots. But right now we're in a bit of drawdown, so we're going to kind of chill. The last 2 weeks or so, May has just been a struggle bus of a trading month. Personally, I lock myself out of the funded. I don't want to be losing more than what I allot myself per day. That keeps me in the game longer term, right? This is now, I'm going to put this up here. I'll put the express. So I lock myself out. That lockout button prevents me from FOMOing into anything else, right? I caught this, got a nice move on it, then gave it right back with another attempt at it through the low here. Just seeing the heaviness of everything kind of led me to believe that we were going to give a little bit of follow through to the downside. Obviously, nothing happened there. I tried to go with the second flush of this low. Clearly, that was a lower just liquidity sweep again and just trying to get you back long. Probably just chop us around this VWAP area for a while, right? This is just not something that I want to be executing around. Avoid it if you can. It's just, not worth it. Yeah, this is just chopping. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, it's just not worth executing. I'm going to leave my stream up for a little bit. I'm going to go really quick, take care of the little guy, and I'll be right back. I can find that thing.
What tree?
Price still not doing anything, so
What
give me a
is
second.
this tree?
Maximus here.
Hey!
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking to? Your traders?
Yeah, the traders are on there.
What? Ah,
Okay, you can move these off, but you can draw on the bottom.
what?
Draw underneath it. Yeah, there you go. Alrighty. Like I said, I locked myself out
Can I get more
Yeah, they're right there.
colors?
on the bottom. I locked myself out of the XFA, drew myself down a nice
Daddy, can I have
loss limit on my own personal loss limit, executed a few of these.
More colors?
Yeah, they're right there on the bottom, red and green.
Kind of green?
Yep, and then I have this one.
Green?
And
Another blue?
all these here.
Oh, these?
Yeah, you can draw on the bottom. And you can move those little guys if you want to.
More of my guys?
Yeah.
I think so. I want you. Manic? Daddy. What I make it is?
You can do whatever you want with it, buddy.
Daddy, look. Can spin on
Whoa.
the other one? Spin on the other one.
Even if you're having a losing day, there's always something to look forward to, right, buddy?
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
Daddy.
right, buddy.
Daddy, watch this.
Stay out of this if you can.
Daddy, this is the Milky Way. Daddy, this is the Milky Way.
Whoa.
Milky Way.
Milky Way. It looks like a Milky Way. It does. I'm going to be a little aggressive on a combine here and see what I can pull
Daddy,
off.
This is a star bin.
Pull a short
Yeah,
through
look.
here.
This is actually the sun.
Yeah.
That's not a star. That's a sun.
Not something I would be executing on my funded account, but I do see that NVIDIA is running its head into 906. If it could wick off 906 and Microsoft's starting to sell off from 414, we'll see what happens around this level here. But the rotation down through seems like the potential long is coming in. But you can see heaviness in that where price made new highs, delta creep down, price trying it again, delta on the low end here. So you do have that delta divergence below that 289. Once again, could be an interesting area for the short. That's why I'm looking at it just on a combine. This is a combine. I locked myself out of the funded because I don't want to lose that account. I want to keep trading for tomorrow and that thing. So we're gonna see if we can earn ourselves another XFA this week.
This is a star.
Whoa!
And this is a midget.
Do you have to go to the bathroom? Go to the bathroom. You gotta go to the bathroom?
No.
You sure?
Sure.
You tell me, because I'll take you. Or just go, okay?
I need to go.
All right, let's go. If this goes and triggers me in, then it triggers me in. I'll be right back.
You scared me.
I scared you.
I jumped.
I'm sorry.
I jumped and you scared me.
All right, it's 11 o'clock. Like I said, every day, 8:30 till 11 Central. That's usually the stream. It goes until now. I'm going to continue to take over with this young man here. Hold on a second. Yes. Hello. Yeah.
Is that my mommy? Daddy, is that my mommy?
I didn't know.
Daddy, is that my mommy?
Yeah. All right. Let
Daddy,
me
is that my
sign
mommy,
off.
Dad?
I'll clear it right
Daddy,
back.
is that my mommy? Is that my mommy?
It is your mommy.
Oh. Dad.
All right. Like I said, every day we got this little guy here. You want to say hi? Say goodbye to everybody?
Oh.
Say goodbye to everybody. Say hey.
Bye, mommy.
Say bye.
Bye.
We're going to come back on tomorrow morning, 8:30. Make some money tomorrow. Follow our plan. Use JPOW to our advantage tomorrow. Get some volatility in this. Get some follow through in some of our moves. And make back some of the low volatility trades back. And then we'll take care of this guy for the rest of the day. Boop in my nose. All right. Until tomorrow, I will see you guys later. Like I said, I locked myself out. Another losing day to start the week, but we'll bounce back. Executions were there. Follow through was not. We tried to play around these other levels. Obviously, this should be just a stay away zone, and obviously you can see why I don't normally trade it. I hope everybody had a better day. If not, if you're red, make sure you have enough bullets in the gun to trade tomorrow. So I'll see everybody tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Talk to you later.